Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining into this webinar. Uh, the topic of the webinar is Modern CFO Playbook for Finance Automation. So, I assume most of you today here are either leads for your finance functions, CFOs, or controllers. Welcome to the webinar. We For a while now, the close cycle has always been the ceiling on how fast finance can inform strategy. So basically, AI doesn't just speed up the close, it removes that ceiling entirely. The CFOs we believe that are going to win the next decade won't be the ones who automate the most tasks. They'll be the ones who know what questions to ask with the time they get back. So essentially, with that in mind, we've come up with some automation tools, particularly for finance leaders who use various ERPs. I'll talk you through the agenda. Um, I've given you the topic. We'll do a quick company intro. We're going to go straight into AlphaBOLD's AI solutions for finance. Then we're going to go through AI readiness of your company. We'll close this all with the Q&A session. So please, if you have any questions, reserve them to the end, and we'll ensure we have them all answered for you. So that's our speakers for today. I've been joined by Tayyab Ali, who's our VP Consulting. He's had over 20 years of experience in consulting. He's actually got a master's in AI, and he's been developing AI solutions for well over 8 years. So that's way before all the AI buzz came in. And his particular focus area is AI automation. He's done a lot of ERP implementation over the last 15 years. So he specializes with AI automation with ERP. Uh, I'm Taimur Pervez. I manage the inside sales team at AlphaBOLD. I have an engineering background, but I'm really passionate about innovative technologies, and I've been working in technology or B2B sales for over 15 years now. With this, I'll just quickly hand over to Tayyab, who will talk you through the rest of the presentation.
Thank you so much, Taimur. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this webinar. I am actually really looking forward to an exciting interactive webinar. So I know Taimur mentioned that you can keep your questions till the end. But honestly, if you have questions, please feel free to ask as I am walking you through different aspects of how AI can really modernize a CFO's job function today. So I just want to start with a few intro slides just to set the stage. At least 3 or 4 years ago, when CFOs or controllers they look for hiring the rock star financial analysts or controllers or accountants, they're looking for people who are very good with numbers, who could crunch numbers very, very quickly. Someone who could eyeball numbers and tell a discrepancy just by looking at them. Someone who is very diligent and disciplined. A lot of those skills obviously are still required, but a lot of that can still be done through AI now. And because AI can replace some of those job functions, so the idea is that we could focus more on people who could do trend analysis, who could review how data is changing over time with the help of these AI tools so that they could be providing insights to decision makers like CFOs. A good testament to this observation is that previously there was a huge uptick in the BPO industry where CFOs would outsource some of these functions. And now with AI, the idea is that you don't necessarily have to outsource. AI can do that piece for you while your in-house financial operators can just focus on the output of the AI and can make more meaning of the data. So if you have in your organizations people who are still doing data consolidation, they're still reviewing large volumes of data, you have manual risk identification being done on the financial data, or if you have financial data across multiple systems and you're aggregating that data, then you're in the right place at the right time, because hopefully throughout this webinar we'll explore how AI can help your organization. These are some of the job functions within finance where things get stuck in terms of manual, mundane effort. One of them is just data entry. I'm using an example of an invoice entry on the AP/AR side. but it could be any data entry that your organization is doing into your ERP system. It could be expenses that come in. It could be, like I said, invoices that are there. It could be a PDF that gets opened up on one screen and somebody in your team starts typing in into your ERP. If you have any of those use cases and you have any of those needs, I will showcase in this webinar through demonstrations expense reconciliation, where you have receipts collected, but now they need to be matched and categorized. So now this is more than data entry. It is making some decisions, reviewing certain categories, making comparisons so that reasoning can be done through AI as well. Bank reconciliation is almost a standard process now with most of the banks integrated for state-of-the-art ERPs like NetSuite. However, beyond that stage, sometimes you need an additional module if you want, say, duplication through AI or auto categorization or validation of some of those transactions in your ERP system. And AI can help with that as well. If you have people pulling in data from different systems, because as a CFO, you need a report that gives you a holistic overview of your data, that's definitely a function that an AI agent can do. Your manual risk and audits, and obviously, last but not the least, if you have a slow close cycle where you have to still manually go in, pull all the data for validation of your month-end close on AR, what's in open AR, what's your aging report, and so on and so forth. AI can do a lot of those things for you as well. So what can AI do? This is not essentially a workflow. We'll probably cover that in the next slide. But this is just to highlight some of the things that I mentioned in the previous slide. If you have people who are doing busy work, AI can automate those repetitive tasks. If you have people looking for discrepancies in your data, AI can do that task better than most of the humans because it can analyze trends and it can highlight. Now, it might not be able to exactly highlight the one discrepancy you're looking for, but it can show you trend analysis and discrepancies across large amounts of data, and then you can eyeball it and then you can make those decisions. It can also help you make informed decisions. So you get real-time insights through AI, and it lets you take actions quickly on that. And above all of this, you can have some forecasting tools and some statistical tools embedded within your AI agents, and they can predict, forecast for you based on the historical trends. So a lot of you probably are familiar with this journey that you have had in the finance ops. We used to have these manual and paper-based finances. Obviously, this was, I would say, a few years ago. Then we have digital ERPs, which I'm assuming most of the attendees of this webinar, you guys are either on NetSuite or some other system or looking to move to NetSuite. So you are in that stage too. A lot of our customers, though, over the years, we have had integrations and we have had robotic process automations for a lot of repetitive tasks. If you haven't done that, then obviously that could have been done even prior to AI. But with AI, you can automate almost A to Z all of the steps on those workflows that we could not do previously. But where the rubber hits the road, at least with AI that is available today, is intelligent automation. And what I mean by that is that not only can you read the data accurately now, but you can also classify and reconcile and reason. And AI can present its reasoning to you in terms of what is its analysis trend of data, so that you could then review that with AI, and then based on that, either make decisions or cross-question the outputs. And one of the demonstrations that I have, I'll be sharing with you AI-based agent that works on top of NetSuite, where you'll be able to see how you can ask some of these questions and how you can cross-question. So when we talk more about intelligent automation and examples that I'll show you are mostly on this intelligent automation side of things. You can see in here that what it means is that you have a perception, which is essentially, think of it as a sensor, where you can look at the data and make sense of it. So it acts as you, as a person, eyeballing the data. Then you can reason across the data. So you can classify, look at the matches, look at the forecast, flag anomalies, and so on and so forth. And last but not least, AI can also take actions for you. Now, this is where there is a lot of skepticism around AI when we start talking about the actions. So I want to just explain for everybody that there is a lot of skepticism as to AI will take a wrong action, or AI will record something in your ERP system, and then who would be responsible for that mistake if AI makes mistake. I just want you to know we have done a lot of AI implementations now, and there are ways we can work around these. And when I say work around, don't take it as okay, it's a afterthought that we figure out okay how to fix it. It's kind of integral to the AI automation. We call it human in the loop. So essentially, what happens is that AI does most of the mundane, repetitive work for you. It kind of presents it in a way that you could go eyeball it and approve before it goes to your ERP system. Now, what does that approval do for you? It does multiple things. One, it takes away the manual effort because you don't have to really parse the data and key it in. AI can do it for you. Secondly, that person who is eyeballing and approving is still putting their stamp of authority on that transaction. So you don't lose accountability with AI anymore. And lastly, when we talk about actions, these actions can go through an approval process before those actions are conducted. One other thing I want to highlight is that we don't implement AI as no AI within organization today. Let's implement AI and now let's see how AI performs. It's a phased approach where you go step by step, you build the foundation, you have limited automation where you probably remove, say, 30% of the workload of some of the people in the finance team. And then you build upon that as they feel more comfortable with AI, as well as when they start actually have the confidence that the AI function is performing to optimal output. So I don't want any of you to take away from this webinar all this skepticism that you have around AI, that it can take action, it can do things, and there is no ownership that you hear at least in the news a lot as well. When we talk about enterprise AI, we obviously take into consideration all of those, and we have a ways to circumvent those issues. And then the second thing I want to talk about is all the hype around AI, right? It can probably just take away your jobs. Maybe in a couple of years. Obviously, I cannot tell the future, but I do have a master's degree in AI as well, so I know about some of the underlying theory behind some of these models as well. So I can tell you that at least today, you still there's a lot that you need to contribute to as individuals to your organization. So the best of the both worlds is between this hype and the skepticism. There is a very nice median of implementing AI and being able to get the best out of it in terms of automation. And that's where we are trying to operate as AlphaBOLD. And we've done this for a lot of our customers and would love to showcase. So with that, I'm going to go into a quick couple of slides of our company intro and then go into some of the demonstrations I want to do with you. Do we have any questions so far, Taimur?
Not yet, but I'll open Q&A.
Sounds good. So us as AlphaBold, we focus on financial services. We work with lots of institutes as well. We also do a lot of manufacturing, AEC, architecture, engineering, construction, but we are for most part industry agnostic. We are a NetSuite and a Microsoft partner. We have 24/5 support, and we perform operations in 8 different countries. Core values. So when we work with you, our first and foremost responsibility towards you is to be honest and uh, truthful towards you so that we could have a long-term engagement and a relationship. And that's what we have achieved with lots of our customers. And these are all the services that we provide. So you can see that beyond NetSuite, there's a lot that we do outside that, which has enabled us to be able to incorporate AI built in the state-of-the-art AI platforms into NetSuite. So with Oracle is also releasing their own agents that will probably become available probably towards the end of this year. But what the approach that we have taken is, for example, if you have Claude models and you love those, how can we incorporate those into NetSuite, keeping in view the fact that you want security of your data. So any of the solutions that I'm going to show you today, none of your data leaves your environment. It all kind of stays in your Azure instances, and we have integration with ERP, and your data lives with you. AlphaBoard never gets access to any of your data. Another thing I want to highlight is all the demonstrations I'm showing you. We are not a product company. We don't sell those as products. We are a consulting company. So we work with you. We configure them to your instances, and then you pay for the consumption of the AI tokens, and you own the intellectual property for that IP that I'm going to show you as well. We work not just as technology consultants, we are also at times working as business advisory organizations, especially on the AI side. We have helped many organizations get introduced to AI, bringing them into their organization and then building upon that. And same is true for our ERP NetSuite implementations, where we analyze business processes and implement them on top of NetSuite. So with that, let's jump in and talk about some of the AI solutions based on some of the gaps we discussed in the initial slides. So NetSuite plus AI, one connected finance backbone. We again assume that a lot of you have NetSuite. If not, then you would have another system that also serves a single source of truth. It's important to have a single source of truth of your data, but it's not mandatory to be able to benefit from AI. The reason I call it out is because sometimes I run into conversations where people think that since I haven't done data cleansing, I cannot really benefit from AI. Yes, there are aspects of AI you won't be able to use, but there's still a lot of low-hanging fruit in AI in terms of task automation that you can achieve even without having one singular source of truth. But with you having NetSuite, most of you already have that. Most of you have APIs available through NetSuite that give you real-time insights. You have extension modules like SuiteScript and REST and Power Automate and Power Platform that we leverage a lot for integrating NetSuite with other applications. And then you also have a platform that scales with you. So you have the right foundation. And what AlphaBOLD has done is we have built AI-based automation on top of that. So the three main use cases I'll be showcasing with you. One is Bold Parser. Bold Parser is essentially a tool that takes into consideration any PDF image and can parse it, and the parse data can be integrated with NetSuite, as well as some other tools. Bold Insight is an AI agent that sits on top of NetSuite and it analyzes trends. I'll show you a demonstration of that as well. And last but not least is our expense automation mobile app, where you can just submit expenses. It has AI built into it, and then it just integrates with NetSuite as well. So the first one I want to demonstrate to you is Bold Parser. The way Bold Parser functions is that it can read an invoice. The example I'll be using is the vendor invoices on the account payable side of things. So it can read an invoice from an email. If you have AP at your company's name.com email address and you receive invoices there, it can just read those invoices and it can parse those through AI and integrate those with NetSuite. It can also take those from, if you put them on a file aggregator like SharePoint or on your file servers, it can take that from there as well. If you have mobile and you can click a button, it can also take those documents from there. The way it functions is that it has human in the loop. So what happens is that you receive an invoice, it automatically parses it, but then it presents it to your account payable team so that they could approve it, and then it goes into the ERP system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a demonstration of this first. Let me just open up my here. Can you see my screen demo? I'm opening up here Invoice Analyzer.
Yes, I can.
Thank you so much. Here. So I'm going to start with just showing you this document processor. Now, the example I'm showcasing to you is just for an invoice, but like I explained to you previously, it can do a lot more than just the invoice. It can process an insurance claim, a bank statement. And these are only three examples for this demo. Like I told you, if you have a PDF which has text, it can pretty much parse any PDF and then allow you to be able to validate that before it makes it into your NetSuite system. Number one. Number two, even if you have images, we are doing a lot of work with images where we can identify objects. So if you do some takeoff, some bait, so on and so forth, it can do those process automations for you as well. For the sake of this example, the invoice that I'm going to use is this invoice. It is from RPM, and it has these two kind of products that you can see listed in here. One is BoldWrite Pro, one is BoldWrite Mountain, and it has a total of 8,605. Now, for this demo, of course, I'm going to manually drag and drop this invoice into this application. But like I explained to you, when this is working in the background, what it does is it automatically can parse these from your inbox. So you don't have to really do this step. So I'm going to say this is an invoice, and I'm going to say process this document. So here you can see it's uploading this document. It is going to review an intelligent service, and it is going to pull in all the data from that. But that's where the human in the loop kicks in. It's not going to just send it to the NetSuite system. It is going to first present the output to the account payable team, in this case, because it's a vendor invoice. And we can have multiple workflows. And this obviously opens up like this. So I don't want you to take away from this that the account payable person will have to drag and drop this invoice and then see this. It will automatically take the invoice from the inbox. It will process it and send a link to the account payable person or the team. And then they can click on that team. And whoever clicks on that link, it will open up that invoice parsed like this. And they will get to review it. And as they hit connect to NetSuite button, it will go into the NetSuite system. So where is it helping? It's helping where they don't have to now manually key in all this data into NetSuite. It automatically parses it. So you saw in that invoice, it had an invoice date of March 30th, the due date, and it had these two products and this total, and you can see 860560. It kind of detected the total as well. It also has the vendor. So if you don't have the vendor in your NetSuite system, it will create the vendor. If you already have the vendor, it will generate this bill for your vendor in the NetSuite platform. Now, obviously, AI can make mistakes. So one question that I get asked a lot is, okay, what if something is incorrect in here? So as your account payable team opens this, they hit this connect to the backend, but there's an intermediary step where you can eyeball and you can see all this data that came in. So you can make any changes. Now I on purpose have replaced some of the fields. So I replaced this total and so on and so forth. I have this invoice date gone, due date. You can have them input some of that data or force them to input some of that data before it makes it into your NetSuite system. This is just a design consideration. This platform can work on however you want it to be configured. But the reason some organizations like to do that is because they do want that manual input, because that is stamping the authority. But even if you don't have that, what it can also do is it can highlight some of these boxes as red. And when it does that, what it means is that AI has less confidence on some of those detections that it has done. So even when you're eyeballing and validating this data, you will only validate the fields that are red in color. I don't have that in this, but imagine this gray um, round box that you see on this quantity field. It was red through AI, and then you just come in and validate that, right? In any case, what you do is you put in the total if you want to. Otherwise, it can bring in the total as well, and you hit process all data. And when you do that, what happens is that this makes it into your NetSuite system. So here I have this bill preloaded as part of this demonstration, but it brings in all the details. You can see the invoice date, the due date, and then you have the products along with the quantities coming in as well. And it sets certain defaults. For example, this product is coming from the main warehouse. It's kind of setting that in the NetSuite system as well. And you obviously have your total amount listed in there as well. Now, for me to be able to demo this effectively to you, obviously I had to use one example, but think of this as an agent that is running in the background. Every day when you receive these invoices, it parses those. It sends emails to your account payable team. They click on the links in those emails and it opens up that web interface that I was showing you for that agent where it has parsed the data. It makes them review that, and as they hit send to NetSuite button, it sends it over. For some of our customers, what we've also done is that you save these files, the actual PDF files, into SharePoint or sometimes into NetSuite as well, so that you have the soft copy of the actual invoice that was received as well against this for your audit purposes. But all of that can today be done using the AI function that I'm showcasing you. So this was Bold Parser. I'm going to move to the AI agent that sits on top of NetSuite. We call it Bold Insight, unless any questions you have already. Demo.
I do have a question, Tayyab, if you could take a quick one. So Catherine here is asking, does the system also accommodate the PO and receiving documents to attach to the invoice as it moves through the system?
Exactly, it does. So we have a PO processing as well. It can do match as well against the PO. It can also do three-way match for you. So there's a lot that we are doing across all three documents: PO, invoice, and shipments.
Thank you for that, Tayyab. I've got one more.
Sure.
So, can the AI capabilities you demonstrated help identify anomalies or exceptions before month-end close, or are they primarily focused on process automation?
So the one that you saw is process automation, but I will show you more examples where we have detected anomalies as well. So we absolutely can use AI for anomaly detection. We have trained AI to be able to say review these five aspects, and I'll show that in the agent later. But any of these can be morphed into a different functionality as well. So yes, it can definitely do that, and I'll showcase that.
Perfect. Thank you, Tayyab.
Okay, sure. So with that, what I'll do is I'll move to the next AI artifact I want to show you today. This is Bold Insight. Bold Insight is an AI agent for finance specifically. It has now a module for inventory as well, but today we'll be focusing just on the finance side of things. And what it does is it allows you to be able to ask questions from this agent on your NetSuite data, and it responds to those questions. And it does a little bit more than just a controller, where it can do some trend analysis for you as well. And then obviously the controller can validate that. So if you have a financial analyst and you're assigning them a task and saying, hey, do this 12-month analysis for me, this agent can do it for you. And you can see from the architectural perspective, it sits on top of a semantic layer. So it has access to not just your data in time, but it can look at historical as well, and it can do some forecasting as well. It does trend analysis, it does predictive forecasting, it does anomaly detection. I think that was the question. It can do pattern recognition as well, and it can provide you actionable insights. So with that, I don't want to bore you with me telling you more about it. Let me just show it to you. So, like I said, it has two components. It has the demand planner as well. We won't talk about that. We focus mostly on the financial planner. This is sitting on top of your NetSuite data, and I can just ask a question. I can say, well, I could type revenue. So it usually takes around 30 seconds to 45 seconds for every response that it produces. But the output of that response at times is the effort that would be at least a few hours or a day at times of effort by a financial analyst to provide you that input. And then it doesn't give you the data. It also gives you some trend analysis, and it shows you how the data has flown, and it shows you some of its insights in terms of how that data can be interpreted. So I'm just asking a basic question. You saw before I jumped in that it had some template questions as well. So obviously you can click and pick from one of those template questions, but you can ask any question. And it also fails gracefully. If it cannot answer your question, it will tell you that I don't have access to this data, or I don't have this feature set available. I also want to talk a little bit aspects of it, so you can govern who has access to this agent. So only the people that you have given access to this agent will be able to then leverage the agent and ask the questions. It does not necessarily comply with the NetSuite security model as yet. So that is something that we are working on, but just something that I wanted to share with you. So here is the output. So it's saying, based on the NetSuite instance that it is pointing to, the data loaded is only till January 2026, and January 2026 is partial month in there. So it's just explaining that to me. And then it's telling me that, hey, here is your Jan 2025 to Jan 2026 12-month revenue. But where it's interesting is how you see here, it's telling me that August was a low month, and then December was the peak. And I can look at the table. It tells me about the segments. Now, I didn't ask for all of this, but I can dig deeper into any of these questions: enterprise, mid-market. And it's also telling me my revenue mix, right? So it's telling me that, hey, Q4 2025 was the strongest quarter. August is the watch point, enterprise concentration, so on and so forth. And it automatically generates this graph for me as well. Now I can either ask a contextual question and dig deeper into these. So it says, would you like me to dig deeper into revenue forecast for the next 6 months, top customers? But I'll say something totally different. I'll say, I just their sales outstanding for December. So I just ask it this question, and again, this is a very important KPI for a lot of you CFOs on this call, and you will see that it, it it can not only just extrapolate data, but it can do this kind of analysis and give you an output on that as well. So it is going to go through the data and it is going to tell me how this looks. But as you can see, it also raises a critical flag in here. So it's telling me my total year outstanding is 24.4, my December revenue is 1.32. So my DSO is 554 days. So obviously you can imagine that it must be now raising a red flag here, but let's see. It's extremely high by any standard benchmark. Industry health ranges between. So this is something, again, whichever industry you are in, it can probably pull a lot of that information. So the experience that you have is almost close to Chat GPT, but on your enterprise data and secure to your instance. That is very important. This get deployed locally in your Azure instance, so your data as well as any learning it has on your data never leaves your organization. And then it says what this likely means is that collections are severely overdue. So I don't know how much we have sitting in OpenAI, but maybe I can ask it this question. Actually, it already answers that. Yeah, aging detail with your accounting team to confirm whether the 24.4 million is sitting actually in my 90-day plus bucket. So obviously you can understand that DSO is a huge concern for me. And now again, I can dig deeper into these. So I can say, somebody asked about the month end close. So I said, so I'm just obviously going through different areas that would be relevant for you guys. I could have gone deeper into just one as well. Maybe I'll probably do that later on as well, but you can ask contextual questions. So as it shares data with you, and I have a demo that I'll probably put in the chat as well, where it's more contextual. So I, for example, ask it to dig deeper into that dip you saw in the month of August up here, this one, and it just tells me why this dip is and if it is concentric to one customer or if it is spread out and so on and so forth. But if I come in here, let's see what it tells me about my month end close process. My expectation obviously is that it is going to, let's see what it says. All right, so you can see month and close review, revenue and cash flow strong. So it's telling me that December was your best revenue month, full year. Customer health, it's telling me more information about that. It's telling me about account receivable. It requires investigation because as you can see, I have total AR outstanding based on, obviously this is stale dummy data from that instance. And then it's telling me my budget data gap. So it's saying there are some projects in here where you have an actual cost and a budget you're almost 70% to the budget. So 7 out of 9 projects have no planned budget or cost data in them. And then it's also looking at vendor approvals and so on and so forth. So I can now go deeper. I can say, so my it is going to, and I misspelled it here, but I think it is smart enough to be able to understand what I am asking, or it will ask me to correct it as well. So that is kind of how this agent functions. It is looking at your historical data. One other feature that I would like to show you is the forecasting feature. Now, forecasting is not something that is always available. So there's a tool. It is using the ARIMA model, if you're familiar with that, for the forecasting purposes. So it's a straight line forecast that it will produce. It's not very impressive, so to say, but we can have any forecasting model incorporated into this agent, and then it will be able to use that forecasting model to be able to predict the future here. But here, when I ask it this question about AR aging and open receivable, so it says the core AR problem is that you have 24.4 million. number of open invoices, and 90-day plus all of it. So that's obviously the biggest problem. And then it's telling me connecting AR to your customer data, the story gets clearer. I cross-reference the AR, your customer activity, a pattern emerges. Customers with zero year-to-date revenue in 2025, but significant lifetime balance. Again, it's dummy data, so it's kind of giving me all these key insights. It's highlighting these things for me. And one thing I did not highlight for you guys, I can download these. I can download a CSV file, or I can download this data as PDF, and then I can share with the rest of my team and go from there. So I just wanted to share this. Unless the more we have any question and somebody is asking a specific question that they would like to ask this agent, I can move to the next thing in the webinar.
I just have a quick one, Tayyab. I think this is a pretty neat tool, but I think you mentioned NetSuite. Would this work for any other ERPs as well?
So we have right now this implemented for Business Central, and we also have an implementation ongoing for Sage as well.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
That's it. Any other questions?
Not for now.
Good. All right. So what I'll do then is I'll go back to the webinar. Obviously, I can have a lot more fun with this agent. I can ask it a lot more questions, but just to be respectful to your time, and I want to show you some of the other AI use cases as well. So I'll just jump back in. So the next one is an app that we have built. It's called Bold Jimble app. Bold Jimble is an expense automation app. It's just essentially a mobile app, and it integrates with NetSuite. So what I have is I'll be showing you a video of this. But what it does is it extracts data through OCR. It can, from the receipts that you would upload, it can automatically detect the dates and the amounts and the vendors as well. And if you have any approval processes in your NetSuite system for your expenses, obviously it integrates with NetSuite, so you will be able to conform to all of your approval processes for these expenses as well. So I'll quickly show you this one. Just give me 1 second here. So this is Bold and Nimble. This is how the mobile interface looks. You can see it kind of gives you some graphs as well as to what expenses have been submitted, what has been approved. But I'll just jump in. So what happens in here is you come in on the expense, you pick up the date, and you just hit the create button. And as you create that, you upload your receipt. So I'm uploading the receipt over here, and it automatically parses using AI all the data that I have, and it is able to create the total amounts from it. You can also upload multiple receipts rather than one receipt. And when you do that, it is able to correlate all of that data, understand all of that, and then put it under a category as well. It can also look at your previous expenses, and AI can learn from those, and it can automatically put in the expense category for you, as well as the dates and the total amount. So you don't have to do a lot of this stuff manually. I want to highlight, just use this example. I talked about historical data and learning from it. Obviously, I'm showing it to you in case of expenses, but for your bank reconciliation, for the invoicing that I was showing you on the AP side, and somebody asked a question on the PO side as well as the agent. If you have that historical data, these systems can learn from that historical data, and then they can automatically uh, do the categorization for you, which you will then have to obviously still validate if you want to, but otherwise you can just use AI to be able to do a lot of classification for you as well. So this is just, I can just go in, I can recall this, I can submit this as it goes into my NetSuite system. It is integrated through the REST endpoints. So I can just process all of this information on these expenses right off the bat using AI. So this is the third and the last use case I wanted to showcase to you. I'm going to go back to our demo here. I just want to share, these are a lot more AI solutions that we have built for our customers. Some of them are already live in production that our customers are using. Some of these are MVPs, and some of these we are working on with them. So you can see we have examples where we can extract data and so on and so forth. I want to highlight this here, that for financial leaders, intelligent automation using AI can meaningfully reduce your manual data entry. So if you have manual data entry in your processes, that's not around the hype of AI. That is just low-hanging fruit as far as AI is concerned. If you're still having to spend days in your close cycles, you can automate a lot of the steps within those close cycles without removing any accountability from anyone. Um, Errors, as long as we have the human in the loop piece that I showed you, where whatever AI processes and detects goes through a validation step, you will be able to significantly reduce errors and exceptions. And obviously, you will have more time for your strategy. So that kind of covers everything. I have just a slide here. I talked to you about this in the beginning that we help organizations a lot with assessing their readiness for AI. And this is kind of the framework that we use where we try to differentiate buzz and hype from what AI can deliver today. And we try to avoid that chat GPT trap as well, where you equate AI solely with chatbots, because nothing that I showed you except from that agent is was a chatbot. These are agents. An agent is also not a chatbot. It's essentially processors who are sitting, or think of them as personas that are sitting and doing functions on your behalf. And this is kind of the strategy that we usually pick. We define clear objective, and we try to also estimate the effort on the objective. And if we have a conversation with you, I can walk you through that methodology, but it's mostly output driven. So we have a very conservative way of enabling you to be able to start getting benefits from AI. And as you benefit, that is kind of how the pricing kicks in, that you kind of work with us on that. But we at times are doing proof of concepts. This is that crawl, walk, run model that I was telling you about. We want to build successes and then build upon those rather than trying to boil the ocean with AI in your organization. And mostly it's the diagnostic process, identifying, evaluating, and uncovering, then doing your data analysis. Like I said, I don't have a customer where their data was so bad that they could not use AI. So I know a lot of companies think that they're not AI ready, and it could be that for some AI use cases, they're not ready, but there are a lot of AI use cases that you could be ready for, but you just don't know. And what we deliver is we deliver a tailored report with some of the AI actionable artifacts that can deliver to you clear, identifiable outputs that can benefit your organization. So, with that, Timur, any other questions you have for me?
Yep, just a couple. Tayyab, I know you showed a bunch of tools actually with reconciliations with ERP, financials, reporting, expenses. Uh, for a for a small finance team that has to do all of that, would you recommend there's a better starting point for someone to use an AI agent?
I don't know 100% exactly how to answer that question, but if you're a smaller finance team, the best way to look at AI is to look at your workflow in totality, but then break it down into steps. And then for each step that you have in that workflow, review whether AI can automate that step or not. You don't need an agent mostly. You could just a quick tool that can automate some of the things that you're doing manually. So, for example, if you have someone who just manually goes and download files from somewhere, AI can do that for you. If you have someone who just stores them and parses them and puts certain dates on those or puts them in SharePoint, AI can do those for you. Then it's the manual step of, okay, I need to eyeball this data and put it in this Excel. Let's say you are very small, you don't even have NetSuite, and you manually put it in Excel so that you could share. AI can do that for you. AI can put it in Excel for you. So the main important thing is look at your workflow, divide it up into each step, and each step is how you evaluate where AI can contribute there or not. And when you do that, automatically you're going away from that hype of AI can automate everything to just looking at each step. And maybe you can today automate, let's say if you have 10 steps in your workflow, you can automate three or four of those. And eventually then you can build upon those. So if you're a smaller team, all the more reason that you should try to do that exercise because it will help you gain some efficiencies across your workflow.
Thank you, Tayyib. Just building on that. So apparently that would mean we could probably demonstrate a measurable ROI for some
Yeah,
of
for
these tools. Yeah.
For most of these, we can do a measurable ROI. Sometimes you need help from our customers. You need some benchmarking from you as to how much of the effort and the time is going into that today. But yes, a lot of the AI investments that our customers are making, they have a very measurable output, which is this is what we want you to automate. This is the amount of money it saves us. And sometimes it's not as tangible as in other instances because it's just like the peace of mind, or I get these questions and I wish I don't have people questioning this all the time, and so on and so forth. But yeah, mostly we will be able to, if we do the AI assessment for you on your AI readiness, we can identify those use cases, identify the output, and also give you ROI analysis on if you go the AI route, what would be the return on that investment.
Okay. Thank you, Tayyab. That's all the questions we had for now. Um, I'll
Okay.
just quickly wrap this up. That's okay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining from my side. Over to you, Demo.
Thank you, Tayyab. I think that was a lovely presentation, Tayyab. Just for the folks here, like Tayyab's been saying, I think we're living in the AI era. There's no denying that. But the spectrum is all the way between, there's all this hype at one end and there's skepticism at the other. And like Tayyab said, I think the sweet spot is right in between. So we really have to look beyond the chatbots now in terms of where we can deliver tangible value today. Just let me know if you guys relate to this. Every once in a while you'll ask a particular AI chatbot a question and they'll give a very confident, very detailed, and a completely wrong answer. And that's because it's been trained on certain data and it's not for professional use. So what we're doing here today is we're doing custom built products specifically for finance, where obviously security is a big concern, but more importantly, it will actually be trained on your particular data. It will actually sit within your environments, within your ERPs. So you have full access, you have full control, but it will deliver results based on what you're actually doing. And the more we engage with you, because again, remember, they're not off the shelf products, we're a consulting business. So every time we engage with a customer, we get to know your pain points better and we develop a custom solution which is right for purpose. So with that, I'll close this off. I hope you can see the slide where you've got further details to contact us. Like I said before, we heavily rely on feedback from you guys to customize our solutions, and we're actually looking forward to hearing from you guys on these numbers and email addresses, and having these conversations further. Thank you all for your time, and you have a lovely afternoon.
Thank you so much.